Yo, what is up, YouTube? It is JazzX Captain. It has been quite a minute since we posted a video, but you know we like doing build videos on this channel, and I know I haven't posted any Diablo stuff ever before, but we have played a lot of the Diablo games. So today, I'm finally going to bring my first build video on the Diablo series. This is my Druid that I have been leveling since the game came out. It's been a slow process. I've been very much enjoying it. I will have some gameplay showing this cool build. I think this build is super unique. Uh, I don't know how I would rate it on like a tier list, but I feel like it shreds pretty good. We can clear tier 50 plus dungeons pretty decently. Sometimes we die here and there, just to kind of depends on the modifier. But yeah, let's go over to the skills here. So for our skills, we are rocking. We got Storm Strike for vulnerability, and it actually combos with our helmet right now at the moment, but we'll get into that in a little bit. Shred is the main bread and butter of the build here, and we're going to be basically using Shred with a combination of an aspect that we have, and then our next skill is going to be Blood Howl. Now, we're using Blood Howl. Some people are using Hurricane and stuff for stuff like this. We're using Blood Howl. You know, it heals you. It also restores some spirit with us with one of the traits we chose on the skill tree. Our main damage that is applying poison right now, one of the main ones, is Poison Creeper. So we've maxed out Poison Creeper, and we got a couple of the things on the skill tree for that. And then we've got Rabies is another one of our poison spreaders, and then we got Grizzly Rage as our ultimate. So on to the skills. So we're currently running Storm Strike. A lot of werewolf builds are running Storm Strike because of the Crone Staff and the Tempest helmet that you can use. I currently have the Tempest helmet equipped. So we got Storm Staff, we got Enhanced Storm Strike, and then we also have Fierce Storm Strike for vulnerable. Now down here, our main bread and butter, like I said, is going to be Shred. This is going to be like where all of our damage is coming from for the most part. We apply poison using Vine Creeper and Rabies, and then we just absolutely shred through units. Like I said, I'll have some gameplay. I've got 2 out of 3 with wind pulses because we want to increase our core damage. Yes, there is going to be a slight spirit issue. There still seems to be quite a spirit issue on Druid, despite my best efforts trying to counteract that through our Paragon board and through some of our items. We got abundance to generate more spirit with our basic attacks, because what I like to do is I like to weave basic attacks in with Shred, because there's actually a timer on Shred. You don't have to use it instantly, and there's 3 successions on that. And we got 1 in the Heart of the Wild. We've got 2 in Digigrade Gate, just for a little bit of movement speed. We got Blood Howl, 4 ranks into that, and then on top of that, we got kills reduce the cooldown of Blood Howl by 1, and then also when we use Blood Howl, we generate 20 spirit. Now for here, I've gone 3 ranks into Ancestral Fortitude and 2 ranks into Vigilance. Down here on the companion skills, we got our Poison Creeper with the Enhanced Poison Creeper and the Brutal Poison Creeper. This is huge for Brutal Poison Creeper too, because when we apply the Poison Creeper to enemies, they take 20% increased critical strike chance, and we can crit on these enemies a lot more. Now for some of these passives, we have Nature's Reach. We deal 9% increased damage to distant enemies, double this bonus. They are also slowed, stunned, immobilized, or knocked back. Now, Rabies does slow because of a trait I've chosen next to Rabies in the Poison Tree Select counts. You'll see in some of the gameplay that I've had or like on my live stream, I do a lot of dashing away from enemies and instantly shredding back to them because I want to create that distance, even though we do have things that also increase our close damage. Now, down here on our wrath skills, we have Rabies, which is like probably the best thing next to Poison Creeper in terms of spreading poison, but I really enjoy Rabies for this build. So we got Rabies, we got Enhanced Rabies, and then we got Natural Rabies. I know a lot of builds that are using Rabies choose Savage Rabies because it does more poison damage over time. But here with our build, we're looking to spread that poison across everything as fast as possible because we can chain all that poison damage to enemies when we hit them with Shred. Now here passively, we got Neurotoxin, so poison enemies are slowed. There we go, combos with the Nature's Reach. Then we got Envenom. Poison enemies take 30% additional critical strike damage. So on top of that, if I envenom them and with the Poison Creeper, we're getting 50% increased critical strike chance against enemies. And then the last thing is we got a critical strikes with werewolf skills deal 23% of their base damage as poison damage over 4 seconds. So that's pretty cool. And then our ultimate is Grizzly Rage. Almost every build now is using Grizzly Rage. I really wish Lacerate was a lot better, but Grizzly Rage is just insane, and it completely amplifies this build by a tenfolds. And so we got Grizzly Rage, we got the Prime Grizzly Rage and Supreme Grizzly Rage. Now we've chosen a couple passives here. I put 3 in Quick Shift and 3 in Heightened Senses. And then for our key passive, we've chosen Loop and Ferocity because, again, we want critical strike damage, we want poison damage, we want critical strike damage. Okay, so now on to the Paragon tree. Again, I will explain the stuff about our build in a second. So on our Paragon tree, we've kind of developed a lot. Like I said, we're level 95, but this is what we've kind of done. You know, I've kind of gone up. My first board, we chose the Lust for Carnage. I think this is absolutely key if you're using any werewolf build. You want to if you critically strike, you restore 2 spirit. This is huge. This is why we try to increase our critical strike chance as much as we can. In here, I ended up putting the glyph werewolf. I mean, honestly, you can use whatever glyphs you want, whatever you see fit here. I picked up werewolf skill damage, critical strike damage here. We got a couple more werewolf skill damage, werewolf's damage while we're in werewolf form. A little bit of healing received. Down here, I chose both of these, actually. I like the armor and max life, and I also like just the damage increase. Our next tree is going to be Ancestral Guidance. I went up. I didn't actually get Ancestral Guidance because, one, it's not technically giving us spirit. It just increases our damage. And I feel like we already have enough damage, and I didn't feel like it was a worthwhile legendary node. And that's just personally my opinion. But I did grab the Reclamation rare node here because we get spirit on kill. I didn't grab this one, though. Yes, the max life would be fine, but I felt like it wasn't completely necessary to grab Natural Attunement. But I went up here, grabbed our core skill damage, because, again, Shred is the bread and butter of this build. So we grabbed that, went over here. I put a Tracker Glyph in here to increase damage to poison enemies. So, again, we're getting a lot of pooled in stuff for poison damage, which is awesome. I've been enjoying this build. I would definitely say... I wouldn't say it's like S tier like Pulverize or like the Stormclaw Druid, but I definitely put it like BA tier. I think it's been fun. I've been using it literally since the start. But we got more core skill damage here. We went over to the next Paragon board, which was Heightened Malice. This one is important in my personal opinion. While there are 3 or more poison enemies, you deal 45 increased damage. This is huge, especially in Nightmare Dungeons. There are packs in most of the dungeons. There are good packs. You are shredding, and I mean absolutely decimating elites, and it's awesome. It's so satisfying. But we went up here onto this glyph, and I ended up putting Spirit. We get 85.4% critical strike damage, which is core skills. Now, in all these little nodes here, these red areas, I've basically grabbed everything that I need for those. So I grabbed all the dexterity I could within range of this. I've grabbed all the dexterity within range of that, etc. I ended up picking up 20% damage to poison enemies. Huge. I don't really need the damage reduction. It's fine. I've got a lot of lifesteal with the build, just like on-hit lifesteal. And then we ended up moving down, getting another 20 damage to poison enemies and 10 poison damage. Now, I am working my way up here. I wanted more damage to poison enemies, so I actually kind of scooped back up here a little bit. But I might end up changing the Paragon tree. I'm not sure. I wasn't really too keen on the poison resistance and max life, but like I said, Heightened Malice, absolutely key for this Poison Shredder build. Now, we went going down to the last tree. Sorry, I didn't mean to bump the mic there. Going down the last tree, we are going to choose the Inner Beast. Yes, this is a really good legendary node, but I don't feel like it's absolutely necessary for the build. So I just wanted to get down to this tree, and then as I level up these last 5 levels to 100, I'll be putting in all these intelligence and whatnot. And everything that goes. So that's the Paragon board. Again, it's not super in depth. I'm actually going to post a build guide because I have an entire build up on a website, so you can just kind of like see everything individually. I need to update my items. Now, let's get to the items, because the items are kind of what make everything great. And these are personally what I think are best for the build. There are other options that you could probably use for the build, but this is currently what we're using. So we're currently using Tempest Roar, which is a staple in the Storm Werewolf Druid, but we're using it in here because your base Storm skills are now Werewolf skills, and I have the Mad Wolf's Glee, right? So Mad Wolf's Glee, I haven't seen a lot of builds running the Mad Wolf's Glee, but I think the Storm Druid is running the Mad Wolf's Glee. This is awesome. This is probably my favorite unique for the Druid so far. So everything that is a werewolf skill gets +2. That's why we have, let me get off my horse here. We've got 12 ranks into Shred. We have 4 ranks into Storm Strike. We have 4 ranks into this because I've only put in 1 point into Storm Strike and I've only put in 1 point into Bloodhowl. And then we also have 8 ranks into Rabies, which is freaking awesome. Again, all those put 1 point in except for Shred. I maxed out Shred as much as I could. So for our gloves, we have our Doom Gauntlets, the Rampaging Werebeast. The name doesn't really matter, and I've been trying to get like the best stats I could possibly feel like I need for my builds. So these might not be the best stats. Like obviously the strength stat kind of sucks in my opinion, but that's fine. It's all about the aspects for right now, just so I can kind of get a feel of my build. And like I said, I've been doing this build since level 1, but we got duration of Grizzly Rage is increased by 5 seconds. This actually infinitely scales the whole time while it's active, which is huge. More damage for our Shred. Now we got, you gain 50% increased armor for 4 seconds when you deal any form of damage stacking up. A lot of people put this in their amulet. I have a different thing in our amulet that boosts our damage and whatnot. I think this thing is absolutely wonderful at 50%. Such a good defensive item. And again, we only have like 2 defensive aspects in here, but we are an absolute unit. So then for our boots, we got critical strikes, grant 12% movement speed for 1 second up to 16 seconds. I haven't found a max roll on this yet, but I hope to at least at some point. You know, I've been looking for one. And then I got our staff here. This staff is absolutely incredible. We have core skill damage, critical strike damage, willpower, vulnerable damage. This is literally what we're looking for on our weapon for sure. Whether it's you're using the totem and the one-handed weapon or you're using the two-handed weapon, this thing is absolutely awesome. Critical strikes with core skills increase your attack speed by 50% for 5 seconds. I apologize if I'm talking too fast. I'm excited. I've been waiting to do this build for you guys. So I'm so excited. Okay, so this is the aspect you need for this build. While dashing, because the second and the third attack of Shred allow you to dash to units. Shred seeks out nearby poison enemies, instantly dealing 135% of the poisoning damage to them. This is why I have this in our amulet. This is the main aspect for the entire build. Absolutely. On top of the Grizzly Rage stuff, this thing is absolutely insane. And then I'm running Mother's Embrace just for spirit reasons. If I end up finding one of the absolutely super rare unique rings that increase like the resources, I'll replace that, but this has been doing me pretty good. And then our last ring we have is this Dire Wolf Circle, and we got Grizzly Rage now shapeshifts you into a Dire Werewolf. As a Dire Werewolf, you gain 25% movement speed instead of damage reduction and 50% spirit cost reduction bonus. In addition, kills heal you for 10% of your max life. This is a part of the whole lifesteal and whatnot. So, and then I also have our spirit boons. I chose to take 10% reduced damage from elites. We have 5% increased critical strike chance, extend the duration of ultimate skills by 25%, and then I chose the deer. I believe it's actually the snake. I don't know what I'm talking about. The snake to be our primary spirit boon here. And I got masochistic critical strikes with shape-shifting skills heal you for 3% max health. And then we also got lucky hit chance. Nature magic skills have a 10% chance to reduce the cooldown of your ultimate by 2 seconds, which is why we're running Storm Strike is a werewolf and a nature magic skill. So again, I will post a full link to the build in details with all the stats, whatever gear I'm running, Paragon board skills and all that stuff. If you like the build, let me know in the comments. Give it a try. Maybe try it in season 1. Who knows? Maybe Poison will get a buff. I feel like Poison's at a decent point for Druid, but I think it could be better. But this build has been absolutely fun. And again, like I said, I'll show some gameplay. And I hope everybody has an awesome week. And peace out. Keep grinding. See you in Sanctuary.
I must wait a moment. I must wait a moment. I'm not ready yet. I must wait a moment.